me a little bit about what's going on.
Well, I like to like quality time where I like to watch Hallmark movies, and I feel like that's a good way for us to be together. I don't need to talk as much. I just like being with Jeff, and so that is kind of what my expectations are, and I'm always looking for how can we connect and be together.
Yeah. So what specifically is kind of the issue today? What do you feel like you're coming here because you have different ideas of connection, or what would you say is kind of the
Well, I think, I agree, we need to connect and everything. I don't mind doing it sometimes, but, of course I work all day, I get home, and there's different things we have to do, that I have to do, a lot of different things I'm working on, and I can't do any of that watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
And Mom or Ruth can pretty easily, she always has sewing to do or knitting or whatever it is. She can do that while she's watching TV. I can't really do much of anything while I watch TV. I can work on the budget or something like that, but I can't do anything hands-on that I need to get done.
Sure.
So I think it's good sometimes to do that where we're sitting and watching a movie, but to do that every night, then I don't get anything done.
Sure,
that needs to be
makes
done.
sense. So I'm hearing you say that it seems like, Ruth, you can multitask.
Mm-hmm.
So things that you enjoy, connecting and watching a movie, but you're also able to get some projects done
Mm-hmm.
that you're wanting to get done. However, you, Jeff, have projects that you can't do while you're watching TV, and so it feels kind of purposeless, like a waste of time.
Right.
Yeah. Have you guys talked through just a possibility of compromising, or any thoughts with how you could meet both of your needs and expectations?
Well, I have thought, it doesn't have to be every night. And, maybe there is something I could do with him, whatever the project is, that I could jump in and help out with a project or something like that.
Do you guys feel like that you have, every evening has to be spent together?
I guess actually it comes from more of a fear that we would drift farther apart, because like my dad came home from work, and as soon as dinner was over, he was out working till the sun went down, and then plowing, till 2 in the morning, so my mom went to bed early, and I just didn't see them having a relationship. And so it's a feeble attempt, I guess, to hold on to something, which doesn't have to be. It can be date night, and so it's kind of like holding you bondage, instead of like a freedom and then a flow, because you want to be together,
Sure, yeah, no, that makes sense. That touches on a fear. How does that make you feel when you hear her kind of expressing where that comes from and the emotion behind what she's expecting?
Well, I can understand that, and it is that is a real possibility of just, and we've done that. There's been occasions where Ruth will spend the night working on sewing or something like that. I spend the night in the garage. We come to bed, and it's not that we're strangers, but just we haven't shared anything really.
Sure, yeah.
So it's a little bit awkward, So I can understand that. I think we can connect when we eat dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been getting home earlier, so we'd have a little more time in the evening. So that maybe that will help a little bit too. If I'm home earlier, and then dinner's over with at 6 or so instead of at 7, and then there's more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you feel like it maybe would be helpful if you guys kind of had a, whether it's at dinner when you're connecting or maybe the beginning of the week, you kind of made a game plan for the week? Maybe there's an opportunity to kind of look ahead, and where Jeff, you can say, hey, here are some of the projects that I want to get done this week. And, you know, it's not personal, I'm not avoiding time with you. Because what I'm hearing is you're not actually fully present in the connection. You're there, but you are wanting to be doing something else.
Somewhere else, mentally.
So maybe the connection that you're both wanting actually isn't even happening. There's just a holding on to the present. But so if there was a way to process maybe some ideas for the projects that you're wanting to get done, finding a night, you know, and Ruth, I heard you say that you're okay with it being one night a week or having a date night. So picking that day where you get to anticipate looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I like coordinating or, you know, working together on things, you know. I mean, I'm fine with, you know, projects and working together. I mean, and when the weather's fine, you know, we walk the dog.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of somewhat a connection. I mean, it's like, but even when we have date night, it's funny, it can be awkward as to what we talk about, you know. So, you know, it's just kind of us coming from different, even though we've been married all these years, just where do we fit, where do we really, you know, connect. You know,
so it seems like maybe for you, does it feel like that watching a movie together kind of makes all of that awkwardness go away?
Yeah, it's kind of, there's that sweet movie, and I know it's always predictable, and I know it's always happily ever after, you know, but it's kind of like that puts that sweetness, hits the sweet spot kind of thing, you know. You know, very imaginary, you know, but yeah, so that's, need to find it, and we're just different wavelengths, you know, and where is that place where it connects?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like, so what's happening when you're like walking the dogs or on a date night and it feels awkward to communicate? Can we explore that a little bit more?
Well, I guess we don't really know exactly where to go or something, you know, like I enter your world of work, you know, and your problems, and, you know, and I advise or suggest, you know, from a totally objective, I don't know these people, I'm not in that world, and I enter that world where you talk about all the frustrations of your day and that sort of thing, and I try to help, and sometimes I'm not patient with that, you know, but I'm totally looking at it totally objectively, and I'm not in the situation, and so that's kind of a, you know, processing thing that we kind of do. You know, it's not like there's the kids to talk about, and, you know, and you're not supposed to talk about kids when you go on a date anyway, you know.
So it sounds like you're in a new season,
Yeah,
even though
that is
empty
part of it.
nest has been probably for several years, you're still kind of in a new season of figuring out what does connection look like in this season of life.
But, yeah.
What do you feel about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I kind of agree. There seem to be limited things to talk about, because I don't always want to talk about work, and there are times when I just want to talk about it but not really process things. I just want to get it off my chest or whatever.
So you don't want me to give suggestions,
Right,
you just want to vent?
Sometimes I don't want suggestions, but...
Do you feel comfortable saying that to her?
Yeah.
You said
I guess
it a
I
few
feel, I've
times.
said it a few times, I do need to practice that more,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's more irritating to try to get it resolved, but I just want to
Sure.
talk about it.
Just unload it
So,
a little
yeah.
bit, yeah.
So that is true. So that's something, and I don't think talking about the kids is off, should be offline, because we're not raising kids anymore. We're just talking about things that are going on
Makes sense,
in
it's
their
different
lives.
Yeah.
season, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing, so. And we could certainly talk about upcoming travels and things like that. But yeah, there are, I guess, fewer things to talk about than there used to be.
So what I'm hearing is maybe there's just kind of it sounds like both of you are wanting a little bit deeper connection, maybe even a little more substance to your relationship, and it's kind of a new season of trying to figure that out. I'm almost wondering if the Hallmark movies kind of creates a
Yeah.
facade of connection
Yeah.
that isn't actually there, so.
Something.
I don't know, just a thought that I have is maybe you guys could read a book together, or, you know, where there's something that is kind of objective that's connecting you that you both can separately engage in, and you can do in your own time, where you can do your projects, and there's times that you could maybe be involved in the projects, and there's times when it's okay for you to watch a movie or you can do your projects, and then maybe there's a connecting place that you're both reading something similar, or there's a subject that you could, almost like a book club or something that brings you together to be able to talk about, to lead into deeper conversation.
That's true. A discussion of a book, you know, but there again, you don't have as much time to read where, you know, I could,
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, we could just allot or one night a week as a reading night or something, you
Yeah.
know, and read and discuss the book or something, you know.
So tell me a little bit about like how you feel about projects and what your kind of expectations are about your evenings,
Oh,
your
yeah.
desire to do.
I can see there are some projects where I like to just be by myself and just work out stuff. Like, I mean, I'm anticipating on Monday working outside, sawing up logs and stuff like that, and that's something I don't know, I'm really looking forward to doing it and just really doing manly things
Sure.
for the day.
So is that something that you've communicated to Ruth, or
No, well, I communicated what I wanted to do, but not specifically, not that aspect of it.
yeah.
So there are sometimes, yeah, I do like to work by myself, and I know I guess I'm re-energized when I'm working, sometimes just working by myself, doing something. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's not, but that does really renew me, I think. Something, because it's different than my work, and so it's good for me to do something physical and something where I use my mind in a different way.
So what do you hear him saying as he's sharing that?
Yeah, that's definitely something that you need, and, you know, give you that freedom to do that, you know, so. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, since you shared kind of that root fear from watching your parents and there being disconnection, if maybe part of it too is just a communication level where you're able to say, I'm not trying to disconnect from you. I love you, I want to be with you. Let's plan Thursday night as a date night, but tonight I really want to get all these logs cut. It just makes me feel good. I feel like I'll be more present, more alive in our relationship if I can, you know, just making sure, knowing that that's kind of a root fear level, then you can, when you see the, you know, the root of that, then you can maybe kind of be proactive about communicating ahead of time.
Yeah. So, like I said, different wavelengths. You know, I see Jeff as, you know, more intellectual and me as more emotional and that sort of thing. And, you know, in the past, in our early marriage days, you know, we decided, okay, we're both going to memorize Philippians, or we're both going to memorize Ephesians, and he takes off and he's, you know, and I am still working on a few verses, you know, I mean, I couldn't stay up, or I couldn't go there, you know, and that was our, you know, that was somewhat of our connecting, doing this together, but I'm on a different wavelength, and I'm more the heart of things, and you're the head of things, you know. And so, just, I don't know what I'm looking for, but, you know, is that place where, but I think the book thing.
Wait, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Why don't you stay there? You said, I don't know what I'm looking for, but how about we talk about a little bit of what you're looking for? Can
Okay.
you try to like, maybe explore that feeling a little bit of what you are wanting, what your desire is from your husband?
I think, well, like I said, it's kind of a quality time kind of thing, you know, where I like probably go watch a sunset or something, and that would be boring, you know, but you know, kind of just you know, I love all those movies where they're just walking and talking, and yet when we go walking, I sometimes am just kind of in a fog. I mean, I love seeing where all the stars are, and you show me, you know, the stars and that sort of thing. And so in my mind, though, I'm enjoying being with you, and you may think, well, this is boring because I'm not saying anything, but I do connect by just being together. We could walk down a path somewhere, or, you know.
Do you feel like it's boring? Like, what are you feeling in those moments when you're
Well, yeah, that is, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, because sometimes I feel like, well, we're not saying anything, this is, are we really accomplishing anything, or this is kind of boring, you know, because we're not talking about anything, but I guess that is good to know that just being together is what is satisfying to you.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's what I like.
I can understand that, I can work with that.
I'm a quality time kind of person, and, you know, I just like being together. So, I mean, maybe just sitting there while you're working on a project, as long as you, okay, but yeah, there are times when you want to be by yourself and get it all accomplished and not be distracted, and, you know, so you know, we have to give and take.
Yeah, and it sounds like you just have to communicate a little bit more. You know
Yeah.
what you're wanting and
Yeah.
what your expectations are, and not being afraid of the other person's reaction, but just feeling free to.
Yeah.
So what does quality time look like for you? Or what does connection look like for you? Maybe quality time isn't your place of connection, but what is like?
Well, I think probably like doing things together, and maybe a shared experience, and I mean, I don't know, like I'm not sure. Yeah, I like going to a restaurant, I guess, or just, I guess talking about stuff too. I mean, I enjoy doing that. Guess I'm not real sure about what quality.
And that may be something that you guys just, you know, a little bit of homework, if you will, of like, just kind of both of you taking time to think that over. And, you know, there's some things that you've always done, like watch a movie or go out to eat, but maybe just getting to a place where you both feel free to authentically share what you actually want and feel. You know, like, this actually doesn't feel like quality or connection to me, but this really does feel like connection, or kind of trying to process that together as a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can be more open to things that you're excited about, you know, that things, when you're excited about something, I can be more open to, you know, and I do like the stars, but it's kind of like, you know, okay, I see 3, but yeah, I got that. I'm not kind of, you know, but especially spiritually, I mean, you know, since we're about to have Jesus, I mean, there's a lot of room there, you know.
On that note, do you guys ever pray together?
At the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, sometimes, other times, but usually fairly short, I guess. Pray about an issue and then but that's, you know, still we do that sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a connecting place, you know, to
Yeah.
pull you in together and maybe even a place to pray for your kids, pray for your concerns, pray for your marriage even together, and allow that to kind of draw you in.
Yeah.
Asking God for creativity, you know, of new ways to
Yeah.
connect.
Yeah, yeah. That's good.
What are you feeling? You seem a little emotional.
Well, I mean, I just didn't even realize till this interview what the root things were, and so once that came out, then that was emotional, and I had no idea that really was what influences me, you know, so.
So let me ask this, is your husband like your father?
Yeah.
He is like your father?
Oh, no, did he like my father?
No,
But-
is your husband like your father? Does he remind you of your father in the way he does life or does relationship?
Well, I don't know. I said in our counseling when we were engaged that family was extremely important to me. And then, you know, there were the similarities of being so ambitious.
Ambitious, yeah.
And my dad did the same thing. So in that sense, even though that was very clear, you know, that family was top priority, it still got shuffled, you know, down to a lower priority.
What does it look like for family to be priority to you? Like what would you see in him to say he prioritizes family?
Well, I guess being there, and so, yeah, like seminary days where you had papers and stuff and your mind was somewhere else. And I guess maybe that's too the same thing like with the movies and all that, is that you are somewhere else, even if we're together. And so, yeah, just being engaged with each other, like, you know. So, yeah, I think that was the thing was my dad, you know, fully felt like he was obeying a call, and you felt like you were obeying a call, and I would not stand in the way of that. But it felt like there was a lot of distance in the process of seminary and all of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you feel when she's sharing that or think?
Well, yeah, I certainly have a lot of regrets along those lines. So, you know, I understand, and I think I've repented and asked forgiveness
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
I mean, I know it's the past,
And,
so
but
That's
it
okay.
does strike, something you said, well, it strikes me, you know, you said, so when we're watching a movie, I'm not there, but I think it's like what we're talking about is, I never get to be somewhere else, I'm always,
right.
so that's why I'm kind of drifting off other places, because I don't ever get to be at those places, so that's where it would be healing to every once in a while be able to be in those places, so I
Right.
can, you know, be more
Right.
engaged when we're together, and I think that's
Right.
part of what we're talking about,
Sure.
what's needed.
So maybe you feel a little more obligation. You're doing things out of
Yeah.
obligation, so you're not fully present.
Right,
And then,
yeah.
which causes you to recognize the disconnection,
Mhm.
and then kind of, you're pushing out of fear of disconnection, you're pushing for connection, and you're pushing to
Have some
have
space.
some space, right? So it seems like there's just kind
Yeah.
of a dysfunctional pattern that's developed,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
having to communicate. And so do you, Jeff, feel like comfortable or willing to share those feelings with Ruth when she's wanting you guys to watch a movie and you really are wanting something else, do you feel like you're able to?
Yeah, I mean, I need to practice that more.
Yeah.
I really do need to.
Yeah.
Just say that, hey, tonight I'd like to
Right.
paint a room or something like that.
Yeah. And I understand, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I think, yeah, if I know I've got him,
Yeah.
he can do anything he wants to, you know. If I've got his heart, you know, got his attention, you know, then, you know, there's that security
Right,
place
that
of,
makes sense.
yeah, then you can do anything you want kind of thing, you know. I'm just an emotional person anyway.
No, it's okay. So it seems like maybe you sense some obligation or some maybe even control
Yeah.
that maybe isn't even there if you're willing to kind of express what you need and feel.
Yeah.
There may be actually freedom. It seems like it's a root of fear
Mhm.
that's trying to kind of pull you into connection, and then you may perceive that fear as a control or like a requirement on you that's causing you internally to push away even though you're behaving the way she wants you to. And so underlying, you guys are both missing what you're actually really wanting.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think what feeds into it negatively is many of the things that I want to do are on our list to get things done. And so then Ruth will bring that up and, hey, we still need to do this. Well, I would have done it, but I was watching a movie, you know? So it just feeds into it in a negative way, so that's why
So
the
then maybe even
communication.
some resentment that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I get that.